Hello, how you going? So we're going to do a nice little sequence today. Won't be super long, focusing on our legs, but of course I love starting with a little bit of a core warm-up as well. But yeah, we'll just go along and see how we go. I'm going to start on our backs today. If you've got blocks, you can grab some blocks. If you've got a bolster or even just like a pillow or something like that, that might be nice, just in case. So grab your props and then we'll meet down on the mat. So once you've made your way down onto your mat, bring the soles of the feet together and the knees out wide. And you can rest your hands on your belly or you can bring them down by the sides. And you may like to close your eyes. Get yourself nice and comfortable. You can pop some cushions or blocks underneath the legs as well, just to give the hips a little bit of support, because this can be quite strong for your body sometimes. And then we'll just start with a nice breath awareness. Excuse me, sorry. So just noticing your natural breath. Noticing any natural expansion of the belly or the chest. And as you exhale, noticing any sinking and softening in the body. Whether you're doing this practice in the morning or in the evening, it's nice sometimes just to release a little bit of that excess tension. So we're going to take a nice big inhale into the belly, and then as we exhale, we're going to breathe out through the mouth nice and strongly. So when you're ready, inhaling. Squeeze all that air out. And then nice big inhale. Doing that 2 more times. And just returning to that breath with the mouth closed. This time we're going to start to breathe a little deeper into the belly. Feeling the jaw and the face softening. Beautiful. 3 more breaths. Lovely, and you can keep the eyes closed, just drawing the knees back towards one another. If it feels nice, you can sort of give them a little bit of movement, or you can stretch the legs. And we're just going to go into a knee compression, so grabbing onto the left shin or behind the hamstring, drawing it towards the chest or maybe towards the side of the ribs, And you can keep this right foot on the floor or you can extend it long. Nice little squeeze, so we're getting compression through the hip. And again, keeping with those slow belly breaths. And we'll start to warm up through the hamstring a little bit. So keeping hold of that left leg, starting to straighten the leg. So you might grab behind the hamstring or maybe a little bit further up towards the calf or the ankle. And you can hold this here in stillness. You can move the ankle in a couple of circles. Depending how I'm feeling, sometimes I like to do a little bit of gentle pulsing towards the face, but nothing too sort of rushed or strenuous. It's just nice to sort of start to get a little bit of a feeling of how the leg's feeling. Indication, that's the word. It's holding for 2 more breaths. Releasing that leg. We'll go straight into the knee compression on the other side. So right knee towards the chest or the armpits, maybe straightening the other leg, maybe not. So that's the wonderful thing about yoga practice, is you're making this practice your own. You're learning and seeing what feels good for your body. And it's totally different every day. Sometimes I'm like, yes, I practice yoga. And sometimes I feel very stiff. Beautiful. Maybe squeezing a little tighter for these last 2 breaths. Feeling the belly expanding. And then again, grabbing on the back of the hamstring or the calf. And just get into that little stretching. So you can stay here in stillness. You can rotate the ankle. You can do this really gentle pulsing movements towards the face. Trying to relax the shoulders and the shoulder blades onto the ground as much as possible. Beautiful. 2 more breaths, just in stillness. Releasing the leg, both soles of the feet onto the ground now. And then we'll make our way up to a seated position. So you can rock and roll, you can gently push yourself up. Beautiful. So coming into a tabletop position, we'll do a few cat-cows because I always love to start my practice, my classes this way. So inhale, open the chest, drop the belly down. And as you exhale, rounding through the back, tuck the chin. So this movement can be really big, can be really small, can be slower or quicker. And just trying to move with your breath. And I kind of like to move my hips and my head around a little bit as well. So if you want to add a little bit of your own freestyling through that. So Getting some movement through the spine and hips. Beautiful. 2 more rounds. Then we'll pop on down into melting heart pose. So keeping the hips where they are, stacked over the knees, starting to lengthen the arms out in front of you. So your head might come down onto the ground or maybe one of your pillows. And you can either drop the forearms onto the ground for a little bit more support, or you can really lengthen through the fingertips. So just seeing where your shoulder flexibility is at today. And again, we're focusing on the breath. Softening, using that breath to find a spreading through the upper back. Two more breaths. Making your way back up into the top. I'm just going to move up through the core a little bit here. So tucking the toes underneath you at the back, really pushing through the palms of the hands and feeling the shoulder blades spreading across the back. So you're trying to engage the lats here, shoulders pulling away from the ears. And with those toes tucked, we're just going to lift the knees about 1 inch or 2 off the ground, so not too far. Core starting to engage here. Nice neutral neck, and just keep breathing. Holding here for 3, 2, and 1. Little rest. If you like, you can sort of rotate the wrists around a little bit, maybe give them a little stretch. Stretching through the backs, maybe flipping the fingertips towards the knees. Have a little lean back. Alright, so we'll do that one more time. Toes tuck, lifting the knees up, pushing through the palms, spreading the shoulders. And this time we're going to push straight up into our first downward dog of the day. So as you exhale, pushing up, find that stance, maybe starting to pedal the legs straight away. Moving the hips from side to side, you can move the head. Just continuing to say hello to those legs. And finding yourself in a central position. So fingertips nice and spread. Legs don't need to be completely straight. Thinking of tilting the tailbone up towards the ceiling. And again, we're feeling that spreading sensation through the shoulders. Beautiful. So you can stay here. Well, we're going to go for a little twist. So really grounding down through the right hand here. We're going to grab towards the back of the hamstring or the calf, twisting our way towards the right. Coming back to center. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Coming back to center. A couple more breaths here in our downward dog. And then in your next inhalation, we're going to lift the right leg up to the sky. Three-legged dog. Then bending the knee, open and stack the hips. Trying to draw that heel into the bottom, lifting the knee up towards the ceiling. Beautiful. As you exhale, we're going to squeeze that knee towards the chest, trying to bring it as far forward as you can, landing in your low lunge. So we're going to chill in low lunge for a sec. So making sure that our knee is stacked over the ankle, so we get that nice stability through the bone there. Hips tilting forward. Option here is to inhale, lifting the arms up. Exhale, hands frame the front foot. So here is a nice place maybe for your blocks to be on either side to bring the ground up to your hands. And on an exhalation, we're going to come into half monkey pose. So as you exhale, pushing the hips back, toes come up, coming forward. Again, you can move those blocks back. Just going to take a little moment here. You might need to wiggle the heel forward. Feeling a sense of the tailbone pushing towards the back. Beautiful. Inhale, come forward, low lunge. So from here, if it feels okay, we're going to go breath by breath. So from inhale to come forward into low lunge, exhale to come back into half monkey. If that doesn't feel so nice for the back knee, then feel free to just take a few breaths in each position. If you're following along with me, inhale here. As you exhale, push back. Inhale to come forward. Exhale, push back. Just doing a few more rounds here in your own time. Leaning forward in your low lunge. Framing the front foot, we're going to tuck the toes at the back, lifting the back knee up into our runner's lunge. And then when you're ready, inhaling, rise up, crescent lunge. So nice and strong through this back leg, kneecap drawing up. And seeing if you can really sink into those legs. Nice deep breaths. On an exhale, coming into warrior two, back heel comes down, keeping that knee tracking forward, lengthening the arms, gazing over that middle finger. You might even feel a sense of the feet drawing towards one another on the mat, but not actually moving them. So you're just getting that energy to draw inward, and you'll feel the inner thighs turning on. Shoulders relaxing. Beautiful. Flipping the palm, inhale, reverse your warrior. So here we're not focusing on trying to get super deep, but thinking about lengthening those fingertips up. Breathing through the space in the side of the ribs here. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, side angle. So either forearm to the thigh, windmilling that arm up and over the ear. So nice diagonal line from fingertips down to the ankle. You can stay here, or you can bring your hand on the inside of the leg on a block or on the floor. Thinking about opening the chest here. Inhale, coming up. Straightening the front leg, coming into pyramid pose. So the hips come back, torso reaches forward. And again, your hands can be anywhere on the leg, on the ground. Fingertips reaching up. Maybe the gaze follows up to the top hand, or maybe you look straight out in front of you. So see what feels good for the neck. Really tucking the pelvis here as well. So we're getting a little bit more of a stretch through the groin. Bending the knee, inhale, rise up. Back into warrior two. Inhale back into crescent lunge. So reposition that foot. And as you exhale, coming all the way down into your low lunge. So making your way down however you can. So from here, you can stay in your normal low lunge. Or option here is grabbing onto the back foot. So you might need to use some sort of belt or scarf or something like that. Or if you can reach the toes and it feels okay for that knee, drawing the heel towards the bottom. So you might even come up for a moment. See if you can draw the heel closer to the bottom and then sink back into your lunge. So yeah, it's a really nice stretch. Maybe even point the elbow more towards the back of the room. So you're also getting a little bit of an opening through the chest here. Focusing on your breath. Two more breaths wherever you are. And gently releasing. Beautiful. We'll come into lizard lunge for a moment. So moving that foot a little bit wider, maybe a little wider than your mat. Both hands come on the inside here. So again, this is where it's nice to use props like the blocks or pillows to bring the hands on. Or you can bring the hands to the ground, or you can drop down onto the forearms. See if you can relax the head here. Last couple of breaths, option to peel that front foot so you're coming onto the pinky toe side so you get the stretch a little bit more into the side of the leg. I really like this one. I tend to get, like most of us, get a really tight ITB, so yeah, feels nice. Two more deep breaths. Beautiful. Gently making your way up. And shift the hips back. Both legs come behind. Now this is where you can choose. So some people like stillness here. I like a little bit of movement. So if that feels good for you as well, then you can move the hips from side to side. Hips can come forward and back. Or if you like stillness, then sometimes child's pose or a seated position is nice. Beautiful. So you can move around as much as you want here, and then when you're ready, we're going to meet in child's pose. So we're just going to take a little reset before the other side. So just coming back to the breath. Seeing with each exhalation if you can just feel the body softening a little bit. Taking the tension out of the face, the neck, the jaw. Taking 2 more breaths. And bringing yourself back into tabletop position. And then when you're ready, we'll come back into our downward dog. So again, fingertips nice and spread. If you need a little bit of movement first, do that. Find yourself in your nice downward dog position. So again, heels can be lifted, knees can be really bent here. We're thinking of lengthening our spine. Option to stay here. We're going to go for a little twist again. So this time we're going to ground through the left hand first, and then grabbing onto the hamstring or the calf as you twist your way towards the left. Beautiful. Coming back to center, resetting here. Grounding down through the right hand if you're coming with me, and then twisting your way towards the right. Back to center. This time we're going to lift the left leg up to the sky, 3-legged dog. Bend the knees, you open and stack the hips, heel towards the bottom. Keeping those shoulders as parallel as possible. Beautiful. Next exhalation, squeezing the knee towards the nose, stepping it through, maybe using the hand to get it the rest of the way as you come into your low lunge. Again, we're starting nice and simple here, hips tilting forward, knees stacked over the ankle. You can always use a pillow underneath the knee. Then if you like, you can sink a little deeper. Maybe the arms lift up above the head. Shoulders relaxed, opening through the chest. Exhale, hands come down, framing the foot. Then we're going to come back into a half monkey on this side. So on an exhalation, pushing the hips back, toes come up, sinking down. So again, if you've got your props and you like using them, they're a really good tool, especially if you're feeling really tight through the hamstring. Just give yourself a little bit more space to move into things. tailbone tilting back. Beautiful. Inhale, coming forward, low lunge. So again, we're going to turn this into a little bit more of a dynamic movement, or feel free to just stay here for a couple of breaths in each position if it doesn't feel so nice on the back knee there. If you're moving, inhale to come forward, exhale to come back. Just moving with your breath. You can really flex the toes towards the knee here in this half monkey position as well, to get a little bit more into the calf. Beautiful. Inhale, come forward, meeting in low lunge. Framing the front foot as you tuck the toes, coming into your runner's lunge. And when you're ready, inhale, rise up, crescent lunge. Sinking down through the hips, nice strong back leg, shoulders relaxed away from the ears. As you exhale, coming into warrior two, back heel comes down parallel. Hips tucked, lengthening the arms. And maybe you need to fix up the stance a little bit. If you find that your knees turning in, a great little tool that you can use is just bring this foot a little wider, and that tends to give a little bit more space for the hips, so the knee starts to face forward again. We want to protect that knee joint as much as possible. Flipping the palm, inhale, reverse your warrior, reaching up, breathing through the ribs. Keep sinking through that front leg. Inhale, coming up, warrior two. As you exhale, coming into your side angle, so forearm to the thigh, windmilling that arm up and over the ear. Maybe come a little deeper onto your block or the ground, keeping that chest opening up here. Inhale, come back up, straightening the front leg, a little break for the leg, hips coming back, torso comes forward, pyramid pose. So again, you can gaze straight out in front of you or up towards that arm. Nice and active through the fingertips here. Sometimes it's easy to sort of allow the fingers to do whatever they want, but see if you can reach up, creating a nice strong line as I'm dancing around and falling over. One more breath. Bending through the front knee, coming into your warrior two. Inhale back into your crescent. See if you can really push through the ball of the back foot. So you're trying to lift the heel up a little higher. Then as you exhale, lowering yourself down or getting yourself down here back into your low lunge. So again, you can sort of chill out here, hips tilted forward or sinking in a little bit more, or if you want a little bit more of a stretch, again, we're going to grab the right foot with the right hand this time. So you might come back, draw that heel towards the bottom, and then sink forward. Maybe the elbow faces towards the back of the room, a little bit of opening through the chest. releasing the foot. Coming into our lizard lunge again, so moving that foot onto the outside edge of your mat. Hands come on the inside, maybe using the props. You can move this knee a bit further back. Toes can be tucked. I find that feels a lot nicer for my knee. Staying here, or you can come down to the forearms. I absolutely love this pose. It feels so nice on the hips. Can be intense, but in a good way. Option to peel that front foot away from you like a book to get that stretch through the side of the leg. Last 3 breaths. Foot comes back down to the ground. Lifting yourself up, the hips come back. Again, invite some movement if that's where you feel, or if it feels good. Otherwise, a little bit of stillness is nice as well. And then when you feel ready, make your way into your child's pose. Take a nice break here. And also, like, if child's pose doesn't serve you, if it doesn't feel nice on your knees or anything like that, you can come into any comfortable sort of resting position. Maybe it's seated, maybe sit on your couch for a moment with the eyes closed and just focus on your breath. Three more nice slow breaths. Inhale, come up, tabletop position. Tucking the toes, we'll come into downward dog just for a couple of moments here. Inhale, looking forward, we're going to step, jump, and get our way to a forward fold. So you can even bring the hands back towards the legs, knees can be nice and bent here. Maybe grab onto opposite elbow, so you're in a nice little ragdoll here, head nice and heavy. I like to sway, but you can take some stillness. A little bit more of a stretch through the hips. Releasing the arms. Inhale, lifting up halfway, so hands can be to the shins, the thighs, or the ground. I'm actually just going to come into a little ITV stretch here before we come up. So, moving the left foot more into the center, and then we're going to cross the right foot in front, and then come down into as much of a forward fold as you can. So again, maybe you're holding onto the leg here, or the shin, or if you can reach the ground, go for it. If this isn't strong enough, bend the front leg, nice and straight through the back leg. And again, see if you can take the strain out of the neck by allowing the head to be nice and heavy. Gently releasing. Maybe pedal out the legs a little bit here. We'll come straight over to the other side. So wiggling that right foot into the center, left leg crosses in front. Option to really bend the front knee here if you want a little bit more of a stretch. So you should be feeling it through that right leg, the right hip. Sometimes I even feel it all the way through my back. Everything is connected. Alright, gently unraveling yourself. Maybe pedaling here. Inhale, halfway lift. Bend the knees, rising up, reaching up. Look up towards the hands, maybe a little back bend. Then exhale, hands through center. Beautiful. So we're just going to take a little moment here just to allow the blood to settle. So maybe closing the eyes, coming back to the breath here. Beautiful, gently opening the eyes when you're ready. Alright, so we're just going to do a couple of standing postures here. I love balancing poses, they're so good for you. And then we'll move into our peak pose before we sort of cool things down a little bit and have our final rest. Alright, so I'll do it the opposite way because I'm facing directly towards you. So we're going to start on the left leg, spreading the toes nice and wide. Feel that weight transfer. So we're going to start in tree pose or half lotus pose. So opening the hip out, either keeping the foot here on the ankle, the calf, or all the way up into the thigh. So you can stay in this pose here, or if you want to come into half lotus pose, and I'm going to fall out. Then bringing that foot onto the front of the hip and allowing the knee to drop down. So you can stay here with the hand holding the foot or bringing the hands into the chest. So this is a really good pose to find that external focus. And even close the eyes for a moment. See if you can keep your balance. Beautiful, gently releasing that foot, keeping it lifted though, so if you can. Oh, my balance is not my friend today. Alright, so shin can be parallel, you can grab the back of the hamstring or you can grab the shin, drawing it up towards the chest. Beautiful, grabbing on the outside of the leg. Staying here, or you can twist yourself to the side. Staying here, or you can grab the outside edge of the foot, maybe starting to straighten that leg. Back into center, gently release. Maybe give those hips a little check. Inhale, arms rise up. Exhale, back to heart. Beautiful. We're gently going to come over to the other side. So spreading the toes of the right foot this time. Again, you can choose those positions for your tree, or you can come straight into half lotus pose. Hands into the center. Find that focus, maybe close the eyes. Beautiful. Keep that knee lifted. Maybe grabbing the back of the hamstring or the shin, squeezing it up. Back to a central position. Right hand on the outside this time, maybe coming in for that little twist. Lifting up through the chest. Staying here, or maybe seeing if you can grab the outside edge of the foot, starting to straighten that leg. And then coming back to center, releasing, little wiggle through the hips. And then we'll start to make our way back down onto the ground. So inhale, arms rise up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway. Plant the hands, step back into plank. So hips coming forward, spreading the shoulders here. We're going to do a nice slow chaturanga down. So we're going to hold at the bottom. So as you exhale, lowering yourself down. Holding here. Nice straight body. For 3, 2, 1, and release. And then just Sphinx pose for a couple of breaths. Exhale, coming all the way down. Toes tug as you push yourself back into child's pose. And inhale, coming up. So we're going to start to make our way into split pose now. So there's heaps of variations. So I'm going to take you through those and then we'll see how we go. Okay, so working into our different variations of coming into split pose. So you might not get there today. But as I said, cushion's good. If you've got some sort of blocks or stack of books or something like that you can rest your hands on, that can be really helpful. So first variation you might like to play with, so we'll start with the right leg. So maybe you're just here sort of working on that low lunge, half monkey position. So you're getting that nice stretch through both those areas. This is feeling okay and you want to explore going a little bit deeper. You can tuck the toes at the back, lift the knee up and start to bring that knee a bit further back. And then you can start to wiggle this front foot out in front of you. So again, this might be where you stay. You might like stack a blanket or two underneath the leg to give yourself a little bit of support and just stay here and breathe. If you've got a little bit more space available to you, keep wiggling that foot forward, tucking the toes at the back, lift that knee up. So each time you lift that knee up, drop it down and you might find that you'll get a little bit closer to the ground. And again, just stop wherever you sort of feel like you can hold it for a couple of breaths. So you don't want it to be to the maximum effort where you're in excruciating pain and you feel like you're going to get stuck here. So use the props. And once you've found yourself in your position, we're going to take at least 5 breaths here. Beautiful. So I kind of like to come out by just dropping my bottom down, scissoring those legs back together. But if you find a better way, feel free to go for it. And then again, this is your decision. If you just want to like take a little moment in stillness, if you want to lean back, you can windscrew and wipe for those legs, give them a little shake maybe, roll through the hips. Beautiful. So you're coming into child's pose or a comfortable seated position. I'm just going to take a few breaths before we come to the other side. So we'll just reset the body. Forget those intense feelings, or allow them to settle into the body, knowing that you're safe. And as long as you're listening to your body's limitations, you can explore things without force. Beautiful. Gently opening the eyes if they're not already, and making your way up if you're in child's pose, and we'll come over to the other side. So I'm going to turn my way this way this time. So this time the left leg comes forward. So same options again. Maybe just working on your low lunge, taking a couple of breaths here, and then moving your way back into half monkey. I quite like to start my splits this way anyway. Just sort of get a little feel of where you're at. Maybe move the hips a little bit. And then from here, if you want to explore a little deeper, bringing the left heel onto the mat, sliding it as far forward as you can, maybe tucking the toes, bringing that knee a little further back at the back, and then see how you feel this side. So each side's going to feel a little different than the other. So I think for me today, this side feels a little tighter. So breath by breath. So maybe you take a few breaths in this position. So I'm going to pop a little cushion under this front leg here. I'm going to take 5 more breaths here. You can take longer if you want to. If you want to take 10 breaths. Beautiful. Finding your way coming out of the splits, nice and slow. Inviting a little bit of movement, a little bit of stillness. So option here, if you want to, you can pause the video and maybe explore doing both sides again. So sometimes when you do things twice, you find that you've got a little bit more openness in the body, just while the muscles are warm, if you want to experiment again. Otherwise, if you're ready to continue on, just going to do a little breathing technique, and then we'll finish off with a couple of stretches on the ground. So today we're just going to do a nice little breath ratio. So we're going to inhale for 4 counts and exhale for 6 counts. So the important thing here is we're extending the exhalation. So maybe 4 and 6 for you doesn't feel right, so maybe you try 3 and 5, or maybe you try 5 and 7 if you want to extend it a little bit longer. So just see for what feels comfortable in your body. Most important, shoulders are relaxed, neck muscles are relaxed, belly is nice and soft like a little Buddha. Maybe the eyes are closed, or if you don't like closing your eyes, I just sort of suggest to just have the eyes like 3/4 of the way closed. So you're just sort of squinting, allowing everything to become a little blurry. And when you're ready, just beginning. And if you feel comfortable, you may even like to introduce a slight pause at the top of the inhalation and a slight pause at the bottom of the exhalation. So you're holding the breath in and then you're holding the breath out. So it doesn't need to be super long amount of time, just that little pause, finding a little bit of space. So it's in these like spaces in time when you're not doing anything, that you can really find a little bit of peace and calmness. Taking 3 more rounds of breath in your own time, maybe perfecting your posture, so straightening up through the spine a little bit, slight tuck of the chin so you can really lengthen the back of the neck. And then when you're ready, starting to make your way down onto your backs. The soles of the feet onto the ground. I'm going to come into a nice figure 4 stretch. So crossing the right ankle over the left thigh. And you can stay here opening that right knee out to the side, or you can thread the hands through, grabbing onto the shin or the hamstring. See if you can really relax this left foot. See if you can relax the shoulders and the head on the ground, or you can pop a pillow underneath the head as well. Releasing the left foot onto the ground, keeping the leg crossed. So 2 options here for our twist. So you can bring the arms into a T. So either crossing that right leg all the way over to the top, shifting the hips towards the right, and then bringing the knees across to the left. Now this can feel quite intense. You can pop a pillow or something underneath the knee here, or you can allow both knees to stack one on top of the other. So this is a nice option as well. Softening both shoulders down into the mat. And just allow your gaze to be wherever you want. So you can look up to the ceiling or towards the opposite hand. Feeling those breaths into the belly. And gently coming back to center, realigning the hips and the spine. And we'll come into that figure 4 stretch on the other side. This time, left ankle over right leg, opening that knee out, maybe threading the hands through, grabbing the hamstring or the shin. Slight tuck of the chin so you're lengthening the back of the neck. Relax that right foot, right leg. Releasing the foot back onto the ground. So again, left leg can cross all the way over the right, hips shifting to the left, knees to the right, or you can stack one knee on top of the other. Open through the chest, just softening and relaxing here. Gently coming back to center, realign the hips and the spine. And then just take a minute or so here to move any way that you want to. So you might come into a ball, you might grab the outside edges of the feet, coming into happy baby pose. You can come into plow pose, so bringing the feet behind the head. It's a really strong stretch through the hips and the back. And then whenever you're ready, you can come into your final Shavasana. So moving around if you want to, or if you're ready to rest now, then you can come straight into Shavasana. You can pop a little something over the eyes, you can pop a pillow under the neck or under the knees. And when you're ready, arms and legs can be spread wide, just allowing the body to soften into the ground beneath you. beginning now to become aware of your breath. Maybe starting to deepen the breath into the belly. Maybe starting to get a little bit of movement through the fingers and the toes. Slowly making those movements a little bit bigger. And if you like, you can give yourself a nice big stretch, or you can curl into a tiny little ball. Feel free to stay on your back for a moment, or you can gently make your way over to one side. And slowly coming up to seated, you can keep the eyes closed. So your hands can stay on the knees, or you can bring the hands into your heart. And we'll just finish off with a nice little gratitude. So whether it's the morning or the evening or the middle of the day for you, just thinking of something that you're truly grateful for. So it could be a person, a place, a beloved pet. Really visualizing this thing that you're grateful for. Maybe even bringing a small smile to your lips. Allowing this feeling to wash over your body. So sometimes I imagine it as a golden or white light. And thank you to each and every one of you out there for practicing with me. And sending you a lot of love and gratitude right now. Enjoy the rest of your week. And you can choose to say namaste. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.